All right, y'all. My Will Smith video got blocked. You know what's crazy? I got blocked by BET. I'm black. How BET gonna block my video? I didn't even play I played the video with no sound. And I was playing clips from Instagram. But anyway, they said, look, no one can view this video due to one or more of the content ID claims below. And the content owner is the BET Awards. So video cannot be seen or monetized, blocked in all territories. So look, I didn't take it down. They took it down. Anyway, I guess we're just going to do this again. I think I deleted a lot of the stuff that I was talking about though, but I think I could go back. So essentially, let's have this conversation all over again. Cause you know, BET said I ain't black enough to show their content. So let's go all the way back and talk about this. Will Smith. I just think it's so funny. I think it's so funny that they blocked me, bro. I think it's so funny. So I want to show this video again. This is a video from Will Smith on Jay Shetty. So he's talking about how him and Jada be studying all of these different religions, right? So let me just play the video, and I'm trying to still wrap my head around how I got blocked by BET. I don't get it.
Tell us a bit about you.
Oh my gosh, man. I don't get it. But the point I was trying to make is that Will Smith is supposedly supposed to be a Christian, but I can't find anywhere, at least on the internet, of him talking about Jesus, of him talking about his relationship with God, or anything like that. I can't find it, but he's supposed to be a Christian. How you have hundreds of millions of followers and I can't find anything of you professing faith in Jesus Christ and trying to lead those followers to Jesus. The only thing that I can find is you performing in a pit of fire with Chandler Moore, as if that's supposed to be some sort of cosign. I don't get it. And now I'm upset. And now I'm finna turn up. See, the last video I was acting nice. This time I got blocked by BET. Ain't no more nice guy. Hold on. I forgot one video. I want to show this video too. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I'm assuming everyone knows what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the performance from the BET Awards where Will Smith. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up because they finna block me again. I want to show this video one more time though. This is the, what's his name? Devon Franklin and Will Smith. Okay, here it is. Here it is.
Is for sure.
Here it is. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm all thrown off. I'm unorganized now. But here's the video I want to show. There's a couple videos I want to show. This is the first one. This is Will Smith talking to Devon Franklin about his movie at the time, his new movie, King Richard. Listen to what he had to say, okay?
So, man, listen. For the 25 years that I have known you, right? Everybody that knows that you played a role in my life, in the church, the number one question, they were like, yo, is Will a man of faith? Does he love the Lord? I'm like, yes. Okay, so, but I want you to hear from the horse's mouth. Are you a man of faith?
You can't.
Do you love the Lord?
You can't get where I get if you don't love the Lord.
Exactly.
You don't get to sit how I sit and move how I move if you don't love the Lord.
Exactly.
Yeah,
okay.
You'd be seeing a whole lot of other repercussions.
Got it. Okay, good, man. All right, so now that we got that out the way.
Exactly.
Okay. First things first. That was not the question. The question is, are you a man of faith? Do you love the Lord? Are you a man of faith? He didn't say yes. To his defense, he didn't say no, but he didn't say yes. It's a very clear opportunity to say yes. I am a man of faith. In fact, my faith is in my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Second question, do you love the Lord? He didn't say, yes, I love the Lord. With all my heart, soul, and mind, he didn't say that. He said, you can't get where I get if you don't love the Lord. That's on some very prosperity type of law of attraction What can you give for me? What can you give to me, God? Genie in a bottle. What can you give to me? What can I get? What can I obtain? How can I use you? This is a crazy statement, but how can I use you to get what I want here on this earth? That's what that sounds like to me. That's on some prosperity, law of attraction stuff. And like I said in the last video that BET took down because I ain't black enough, I said I was deep into the law of attraction. I was deep into that stuff. I was deep into those affirmations, and you think it and you receive it and all that type of stuff, and you claim it and all that type of. I was into that before I gave my life to Christ. And you know what's crazy? People are not going to want to hear this. To a certain extent, the law of attraction actually works. People are not going to want to hear that. But just because it works to a certain extent doesn't mean you're going to make it into heaven. So you can get all this stuff here on earth, all the money, success, fame, fortune, cars, clothes, women, all that type of stuff, right? Doesn't mean you're going to heaven. Another thing I want to show y'all was this video right here from Jay Shetty. Not the whole video, as I said previously, just a portion of the video. And I'm sorry for those of you who watched, it was like 5,000 people. I just posted the video. Like 5,000 people watched it and then it got taken down. So just watch this one again. All right. Cause I have some new thoughts now that I'm upset.
You've been studying world religions and spiritual paths for a long time.
Absolutely.
And the first time I officially reached out to you and your team and everyone, which was a few years back now, was because I saw that you'd been reading the Gita. Yeah. And the Gita was obviously the book that I read and studied so deeply and fell in love with. Mm-hmm. And after having studied world religions myself too, and I've had beautiful experiences reading the Bible and the Quran and the Gita. And so when I saw you talking about it when you were in India, I was just like, wow, like, this is amazing. Like, I'm already a huge fan. I love Will Smith. Like, how is Will reading the Gita? I was like, how did that even happen? And then when I got to know you and Jada and spoke to the family, I realized that you'd taken on a challenge to like study a world religion every year. And tell us about that and what you learned along the way. What were some of the traditions that stood out in your journey and what did you learn from them, whether it was the Kabbalah or even Scientology, all those, because you've shared so many beautiful lessons with me from what you've studied. Yeah. And I'd love to pass them on.
So what was, I guess probably in the first 10 years of our marriage, that was me and Jada's bonding, right? So every year we would pick a spiritual tradition and we would study it all the way through. How
did you even start doing that? Like, because when I heard you did.
Once again, I'm gonna skip this part.
Yeah, tell me about even why you and Jada decided to do that.
So I don't even know how it developed as a thing. I know when we got married, we were trying to decide, what church we were going to get married, and were we going to get married in Baltimore or Philly, and who was going to be the priest, so Gammy had a different religious background than Gigi, so we were trying to figure all of that kind of stuff out, and Jada didn't want to do any of that. Jada wanted for she and I to go to a mountain, and pledge our love and devotion to one another, to God, without, she felt like we weren't going to adhere to this specific religious tradition. We would just be picking it for her mother or my grandmother or something to try to figure that out. So I think the discussion about the religious background we would raise our children in is what came up.
I mean, this is something that I missed in the last video. So Jada was basically saying like, yo, let's not just go to a Christian church or whatever type of church to get married in just to appease our, family, because ultimately we're not going to follow it. We don't believe it. So let's just do our own thing. In a lot of ways, I don't want to say I respect it. I'm getting very, I don't like saying that I respect it, but she could have just said, oh, let's do it. and let's get married. Because a lot of people do it. Like a lot of people get married in the church, but they have no intention of actually giving their life to Jesus. They just kind of do it as like a religious tradition. But Jada was actually saying like, yo, we're not going to follow this religion, so let's not even do it in the first place. Something to think about. Something interesting to think about.
When we first got married. And she grew up in a thing called the Ethical Society in Baltimore, and they would honor the different religions. And my background, I grew up, I went to a Baptist church. I went to a Catholic school. And somewhere in that first decade of our marriage, we were like, oh, wouldn't it be hot if we could say that we had read cover to cover all of the major holy books? And we started with the Bible, and I just remember seeing her Bible was, you know how I do my books now, you see how like all my books are highlighted all the way through. And, you know, she completed the entire Bible, 7 months before me, right? So now it's on, right? So then when it came to time for the Quran, I was like, I wanted to win.
Yeah.
Right?
I think this is interesting too, because I keep forgetting that Jada and Will Smith are actors. I don't know if you've seen like scripts before. Scripts sometimes, most of the time, are like thick books that they gotta read and know like inside and out. You gotta know and memorize these scripts. Not only your parts, but a lot of these like great actors, they memorize the lines of other actors that are on set with them so that they can know the full story. So I don't think it's that impressive that they both read the Bible cover to cover, because where's your heart in doing so? If your heart is to just try to appear wise to people because you can tell them, oh, I've read all the holy books cover to cover. If your heart is to just appear wise and superior to people, then you're missing the whole point. You're not actually trying to learn about God. You're just reading the book to please people so that people can think that you're wise because you've read it. But in all actuality, you have no reverence of God. So there is no wisdom in you. If you do not have any reverence of God, you have no wisdom. So just because you read and you have the knowledge, it doesn't mean you're wise. It doesn't mean that you know Jesus. And as I said, I do think it's cool to learn about other religions. But before you start to learn about other religions, make sure you know about your own belief system in Jesus Christ. Make sure you know the Bible first. Make sure you have a solid foundation of truth before you start to study these other religions. And why study other religions in the first place? I think it's cool to study other religions from the standpoint of being able to understand other people's belief system and helping them come out of that belief system and into the truth. And he talks about that a little bit, but the issue here for Will Smith and for Jada is that they don't have that foundation that is rooted in truth. Because that is only found in the Bible. And if you don't believe the Bible, if you don't believe it, you're just studying it for fun. You're just studying it for competition. You're just studying it for vanity. You're not looking for God. You're not asking to be led by the Holy Spirit in your study. You're just studying it. You're studying based on your own human understanding, and you're extracting what you believe to be wise, and you're applying it to your own life, but you don't actually have any fear or reverence to God. So your application of the scripture in your own life is going to be in vain because you don't even fear God. You don't have reverence for God. You don't have your faith in Jesus. I don't know if this is making sense, but hopefully it does.
But, you know, so we would take a year and we would study all of these traditions as a, you know, really as a way of the two of us bonding spiritually and, you know, intellectually around the concepts. And, you know, we went through Kabbalah and, you know, Scientology. And really what was happening is every time I would meet someone who was of a different tradition, I would allow that person to introduce me to what their tradition was. And then I did Ali. And so we circled back around to the Quran during that time. But we really just, we love the idea of spirituality and the study of the love of God. And we don't necessarily believe in organized religion. We believe that the organizations kind of jump ahead of the spirituality. You know, you know, the Church of Christ is very different than Christ, the steps that Christ actually walked, you know. So we started to notice those kinds of differences, and we really just wanted to find the truth. You know, what is the truth? And you see how my whole family dives in. The kids are doing it now, you know, with the Gita, and it's really,
It's interesting. They've like read every holy book. There's only one holy book, that's the Bible, but just for the sake of this conversation, they've read every holy book, right? And you feel like you still haven't found the truth? I thought this was very interesting what he said. The ethical society. So he said that he was brought up as a Christian Baptist, and Jada was brought up within the ethical society. I've never heard of that until today. The ethical society. So this is from their website, ethicalsociety.org. Official. Ethical humanism, ethical culture is a humanist movement focusing on focusing on human goodness. We're off to a bad start. Focusing on human goodness and building ethical relationships with each other and the earth. As a non-theistic organization, we do not concern ourselves with the existence or non-existence of a deity, but instead embrace the diversity of our members. So a non-theist is essentially like a friendlier atheist, essentially. A person who does not believe there is a God or gods. A person who is not a believer in theism. Non-theism. He has written a beautiful chronicle of his search for truth that serves as an accessible and non-threatening entry point into the world of non-theism for a wide audience. So non-theism is like, you don't believe in God, but at the same time, you kind of believe in like the spiritual, and you believe, this is a good example, like during Christmas time, like Christmas in the United States is very non-theistic. There's so many people who celebrate Christmas, but they don't believe in Jesus Christ. They don't believe in Jesus Christ, but they celebrate Christmas, and they watch all these Christmas movies. And a lot of these Christmas movies have like a whole bunch of spiritual stuff going on and like spiritual encounters and stuff like that, but they don't believe in God. So they believe in like the spiritual side of it, but they don't believe in God. But they're not like hostile towards it. They just say that they don't believe in it. I forget what I was reading, but it said something like this is a very subtle corruption of the spirit. It's like non-theism is a very subtle corruption of the spirit. It's very subtle. It's not as in your face as atheism, because atheists are very vocal about their hatred for God. But when you're non-theistic, it's subtle. You're more accepting. You're more loving, quote unquote. And that's why, like, I think about the video that we watched with Devon Franklin and Will Smith, and Will pretty much, he never says anything about Jesus. He never says anything about, you know, his faith in Jesus. He just keeps it very vague. It's not disrespectful. I mean, he's sitting with a self-professed, you know, individual who says that they have faith in Devon Franklin, which I don't know all of his beliefs. I know he just signed like a massive deal with Netflix to do faith-based movies. I don't know what that really looks like, but we'll see what that looks like. But like, so he goes to church in some capacity because Devon Franklin was talking about, oh, people in church want to know, like, do you love the Lord and stuff like that. So in some capacity, somebody who is non-theistic, they could go to church, but it's not because they're looking for a relationship with God. They're more so looking for a relationship with people, and they're trying to understand how to cope with the trauma and the pain of this world. And that makes a lot of sense because recently Will Smith went through one of the darkest moments in his entire career. He went from being, you know, everyone's favorite to one of the most controversial. In his song, he said that they tried to bleed Will Smith. So I don't know what that means, but you know, he went through this quote unquote fall from grace, according to him, and his entire identity, which is largely wrapped up in his career and is largely wrapped up in the perception that people have of him, started to crumble. And then he went through this kind of spiritual journey to try to figure out how to fix that in some sense. And now he is making songs with church choirs and with Chandler Moore. I don't know why I said that, with Chandler Moore. So now he's making church songs with church songs with what's the name? Maverick City. And he's trying to figure it out spiritually. But it seems like he's still very far away from figuring it out. And somebody said in the comments, they said that I was once lost, but now I'm found. So everybody can be found. Everybody can come to Christ. It's not some exclusive club. But it's going to be, let's just keep it real, it's going to be difficult for some people to come to Christ more than others. Especially when you are rich and successful beyond your wildest imagination. You can buy anything and everything that you want. The money is not an issue, whatever. It's not an issue, right? Material things is not an issue. The things of this world, fulfilling your lustful desires, not a problem. Like you can have any and everything. For you to submit to God and to crucify your flesh and be obedient to the will of God in your life, that's going to be difficult when you've been serving this world for so long, when you've acquired all of these appetites for all of these different sins for so long. It's going to be very difficult. On top of that, you have this knowledge of all of these different religions that are pulling you in all these different directions, tugging on your belief system, and ultimately pulling you away from God. Because there's only one true God. So there's another video I want to show. Hold on. It's from John McCrae. There was another video from John McCrae. Let me go to my history. And John McCrae. Here it is. Let me play this real fast.
Book. He also talks about Christianity, how it made him feel bad, and how his counselor has helped him realize that he really shouldn't feel bad for doing the things that Christianity teaches is wrong. Now, I've also got my own thoughts about this and also about what Will said, so let's just go ahead and get right into it. So in the interview, Will talks about how during his marriage, his counselor told him to make a list of all of the women that he wanted to sleep with, and then they were going to make a plan to contact those women. After Will talks about this,
his counselor, Will Smith's counselor, during his marriage, the counselor said, make a list of all the women you want to sleep with, and then let's make a plan to contact them. Hollywood is weird. Make a list. You're married. if a counselor ever said that to you, bro, you gotta have some discernment. Like, bro, I'm married. Why are we talking about making a list? I'm married. Like, the people that we choose to seek counsel from are ungodly. How can that be beneficial in our life?
Talks about his counselor's method, and he said what she was doing was essentially cleaning out my mind, letting it know it was okay to be me and who I was. It was okay to think that Holly is fine. It doesn't make me a bad person that I'm married and I think Holly is beautiful. Whereas in my mind, in my Christian upbringing, even my thoughts were sins. That was really the process that Michaela worked me through, to let me realize that my thoughts were not sins, and even acting on an impure thought didn't make me a piece of sin.
Yeah, but your thoughts are sin. Your thoughts are sin. If you look at a woman with lust, you've committed adultery in your heart. Your thoughts are sin. And to even say, hold on, whereas in my mind, in my Christian upbringing, even my thoughts were sin. That was the process that Michaela worked me through to let me realize that my thoughts were not sin. That's a lie. And even acting on an impure thought didn't make me a piece of blank, right? Okay. Even acting on an impure, so not only are you having these sinful thoughts, but you're acting on them. So you're thinking that another woman is attractive who is not your wife, and then you're acting on those thoughts. You need to, this is the importance of going to a Christian therapist. It's like he's being pulled in so many different directions. And time is running out. You're not getting any younger. None of us are. You're being pulled in so many different directions. All these different religions you're studying, these people that you're seeking counsel from that don't know God, that are ungodly, that are encouraging your life of sin. I don't know, bro. I appreciate y'all for watching this video again. If y'all could support on Patreon, I would greatly appreciate that as well. Hopefully this one doesn't get blocked again. If anyone knows anybody at BET, can you ask them why they blocked me, please? Whatever. All right, y'all. I'm out, y'all.